If you're in science, I don't think you can do science without being a mentor. You're always working in groups, you're always working with people, you're always going to have students or postdoctoral fellows or technicians.
The program has largely worked for me because it's given me the opportunity to interact with a lot of people outside my department that I probably wouldn't have had the opportunity to otherwise. You get a lot of exposure in other people's fields and what goes into grant writing, and maybe even career development type seminars that I probably wouldn't even considered.
I think it's critical for the mentees to have a guided way through academic life of understanding what it means to write grants, in particular in this case, revise grants, sometimes be successful, but probably more often than not to not be successful. That's just sort of the nature of academics.
I mean, you kind of always start within some confines. Here's your limits where you can stay. And as I'm hoping it's more as I've developed and not necessarily as I've aged, but as I've been here, he's allowed me to kind of push those boundaries a little more and branch out and look into new projects that may not have always been in his best interest, but he recognizes that this is not just an employee-employer relationship, it's a mentor-mentee. So he's allowed me to develop quite a bit. I think we've formed a successful collaborative relationship. I appreciate the fact that as I've gotten further in my program, I don't feel that he necessarily treats me as an employee. I think he treats me more as a collaborator. That's something that I hope I've earned, and I feel that that's been very helpful to me. And again, because it allows me to have conversations with him where my opinion's valued and my thoughts are, they're considered. I think that's great, and I think he's great at that and cultivating that type of relationship.
Usually the mentees end up knowing a lot more about the subject than I know. So they end up teaching me. I can sort of guide them a little bit about the direction to go in, but then I really expect them to become the experts. And they need to teach me. They got to convince me then.
I think Rick recognizes that there's a lot more to what we're doing than just churning out the papers. He wants to train scientists, and I'm glad that I ended up here, and I'm glad he took the chance. And I think I am becoming a scientist, or definitely a better one than I was before.